What's good? What's good, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony, aka the Senator of Chaos and Controversy, and I'm taking a walk through downtown Dixon, across the bridge. How you doing? And this is where the fireworks took place, and they said that there was a active shooter, a 15-year-old boy. Okay, now this will be one of them stories that certain groups would utilize to apply to their narrative as to why, there needs to be gun control and whatever else passed to, restrict those of their Second Amendment rights. But the real question is, how in the world did a 15-year-old get a hold of a gun? This isn't in Chicago now, mind you. Yes, I'm in Dixon, Illinois, but this little town right here, Dixon, this is a do-nothing town. It's a do-nothing town. It got its issues with drugs, opioids, and coke, and heroin and shit. Mostly heroin here, cause damn. But I'm gonna take you on a little journey with me to some of these locations here, just so you know how small Dixon is. And this is the home of Ronald Reagan, mind you. You got a lot of people who support the Democrats here, but there are Trump supporters. But this is like where they have this event every year called the Petunia Fest, and they're breaking down the carnival over there by the school. The last thing to go is the Ferris wheel. Excuse me. But that's pretty much what the revenue that actually is brought into this town, into the town of Dixon, where they're able to function, like all these businesses, like the bars and stuff. Yeah, the lid off my soda done came off. And you want to talk about defacing statues and stuff like that, they cleaned it up because you got Ronald Reagan on the horse. Let me see if I can get it good right there. Oh, God. And they pretty much keep it clean around here. They got people that come around. They got the jobs of taking out the trash and the trash bins around here, and sweeping and cleaning up, and making sure the flowers that are hanging off these lampposts, which I'll show you here in a quick sec, so you understand what I'm talking about. But like these right here, they have people on these carts that run around and water the plants. Across the street, there's a business that just opened up. I don't know if they're still open because the pandemic did a lot. You got a lot of these small businesses in this general downtown area. Now, when I said I would get in trouble, this is exactly what I would be talking about in regards to getting in trouble. I used to hang out here at the Alley Loop. It's a bar. I don't know if anybody's in this one. You got your regulars that come and go. And this is the alley that take you from this bar and, well, Damn, are they shut down? This used to be the cab service over here. Now in this building over here, but I don't know. Probably got some issues. Not enough clientele. How you doing? Man, it's a hot one today. I'm getting my cardio up in here. Dang, the ice already melted in my doggone. And these are the other bars, like Drifters and the Royal Palms and there's another bar right here. So now I'm walking up this big ass hill. Then you got the businesses down the street. Now, I don't know if y'all can see, but right here is the arch for Dixon. This is the main drag. This is KSB Town Square. This is where I would take my son to his appointments. See, Dixon, Reagan's hometown, right above me. And like, if they want to shoot a movie in this location, they could, because they got a lot of prehistoric buildings that have been preserved, so to speak. You can just tell somebody's still shooting on fireworks. Still old-fashioned. Man, it's hotter than a devil's armpit out here. Shoot. God damn. I think in a previous video, I was talking about how there's a lot of vacant space in some of these buildings where people had their businesses, but because of the pandemic, they had no choice, unfortunately, but to pack up and go and shut down because they couldn't afford the lease. This is bookstore, I believe. Yeah, people come out. And then above, they have apartments in some of these buildings. And then you have the Drive Safe Driving School. Then you have across the street the comic book store, beauty salon. They used to have a boxing gym back here, but I think that guy, but it was before the pandemic hit. I think he already left. I was thinking about taking some classes with him. This is another restaurant that usually do quite well, especially if you want to wait staff. And then you got another salon right here. Oh, and then here we go with patios. Oh, get in trouble here too. Another bar. And then they got an outdoor patio. Sometimes they have the flat screen out. It's closed off. Oh, and then the lawyer's office is right across the street, Paul Wickham. I'm at the crosswalk now. I hate these crosswalks. Shit. Then you got Rockin' Nutrition and Wellness. It's like one of them places where you get your fitness drinks from before you head to the Y and do your workout. I passed the Y when I was coming across the bridge, but I started shooting this video after the fact. Yeah. And yes, there are some jobs here too that a lot of people want. But here's the thing. Okay, so I'm gonna just have random discussions on my way through this town, okay? And one thing I wanted to point out when a lot of people are talking about jobs, you know, what types of jobs that are available, since, you know, there's a lot of like people with this type of attitude that, you know, is just a little disturbing at times. Oh yeah. Val's, another bar. Yeah, they got a lot of bars out here. How you doing? So, and when I mentioned before, when I went to my AEA classes and stuff, a lot of people were there for DUIs and stuff like that. Or, you know, which is ridiculous sometimes, because whatever. Now I always stress, hey, whatever you do, if you can avoid it at all costs, do not drive your ass nowhere near downtown if you are having to want to go out and drink. Take a cab. So that way, because the cops are always on the prowl. So yeah. And but getting back to what I was trying to point out. So my friend, her cousin, whatchamacallit, her cousin's father had a stroke. Now, she works at Hardee's. I don't know if she's like an assistant manager or something, whatever the case may be. And she told her supervisor that, hey, my dad had a stroke, I need to leave. They wouldn't let her leave. So that's another issue when it comes to certain jobs. When you have an emergency, a family emergency, and you don't know if that's going to be your last time seeing your mom or your dad, or even if like something happened with her daughters, because I believe she has a couple of daughters, from what I understand. But post office closed, of course, because they recognize it as it being a holiday. So for those who had a certified for unemployment, you ain't getting your shit on Wednesday, you're getting it on Thursday. Hello. But and that's the thing. And when people say, hey, why don't these people want these jobs? You know, they're hiring and da-da-da-da-da. But it's the bullshit that you have to go through with these jobs that are available, because one, you get some lousy ass hours. If you're in customer service, you gotta deal with a multitude of personalities, which is already stressful on top of the job that you already have, especially if you're short staffed. And you just so happen to be one of the responsible ones that, hey, I need this job regardless, because I'm the only breadwinner and I got a family to take care of. So many people capitalize on that. A lot of businesses capitalize on that because they're like, oh, you need us, you need us. So be thankful for what you got. But at the same token, understanding that families are important and stuff, that's where another area where people are dehumanized as, and we're just looked at as cattle, so to speak. There's no family values. You know, one time I preached about family values and used that as a talking point, but when you actually apply it to reality, there's zero to no shits given about family. Let me make that understood and let me make that clear. There's zero to no fucks given when it comes to family. This is a historic building. When I worked at Rainer, when they went on strike for like union pay and stuff like that, this is where they would come and congregate in order to voice their grievances and stuff like that, or what have you. And it shouldn't be to where if there's a family emergency or stuff that you aren't allowed to go tend to your family. And before, it used to never be like that. You had jobs that family came first. You know, family was a priority. You know, if something happened, someone else was there to take over or cover for you. You know, to make sure that, you know, whatever emergency that you had, you was able to tend to it without question or pushback or maybe facing the consequences of if you had to leave the job abandonment. But I'm sorry, just as they feel that workers are expendable, so are jobs. And this pandemic has highlighted that. Now you got everybody fucking going crazy and panicking because, oh, they're saying, hey, the unemployment. No, the unemployment. No, maybe people have came to the realization their worth. And they're not going to sit there and tolerate being treated like shit, having to settle for whatever the job pays them, not having vacations, not having no incentives, insurance, pensions, anything beneficial to keep them there and driven. And not only be driven, but to be a quality employee. You know, you got. Here's the thing too. You also have this that happens. You have people on a job. That's been there for years, know the ins and outs of the job depending on what department they're in. And you would think that those people would be considered or looked at as far as advancement in regards to filling a position as being a foreman or something like that. Graduating up the ladder of success, so to speak, with better pay, have a better salary or what have you. But then they'll have somebody coming in fresh out of college or whatever you want to say, no experience, no work experience whatsoever, but yet you have to turn around and train them for a position that you should be entitled to get or should be able to compete for. But instead, they're looking for an educated person. Well, okay, but you're educated, but you're not experienced. And that's also a catch-22 because I got my opinions about that. If you got a person coming out of college and they're not experienced because they've been going to school, racking up debt in regards to tuition and what have you, well, if they're investing in education, when are they going to have time to get the fucking experience? That's my question. Unless they do an intern somewhere. But a lot of these jobs that are available for which they are going to school for, trying to get a degree in, there's only but so many intern positions available or open for students to partake in. So there's a lot of pros and cons and checks with a lot of imbalances that can be applied to a lot of points being brought up in the discussion when it comes to education and the jobs situation, the employment situation, whatever. But yeah, so that's pretty much the run through of Dixon. Now these are just neighborhoods, but they got like a lot of houses for rent. I think a lot of people are wanting to move out of Illinois. I know I'm one of them. But I don't know. Trying to figure out where I want to go. I left Connecticut to go to Houston. Spent time in Houston. Left Houston to come here. Now I don't know where my journey might lead me to next, or where I want to go. I haven't heard too many favorable options in this particular date and time as to where it would be the most likely place to want to go and settle, so to speak. But yeah. Oh, comment buildings down there. Oh, so case in point. Now this is mostly a Democratic area, and people want to know: was there like a lot of Black Lives Matter protests in Dixon? Hell no, it wasn't. You'd have to go to Chicago for that. But even at the neighborhood that I'm in now, right there, Trump supporter. But does it bother me? No. Do I care? No. Damn. At least the wind is picking up. But yeah. Well, that's about all. There's a speaking of which, when it comes to white collar crime, there was a treasurer here in Dixon by the name of Rita Cromwell, right? Now, there's a documentary, if you don't believe me, called All the Queen's Horses, right? And the reason why it's called All the Queen's Horses is because this woman, who was entrusted to take care of the finances that were coming in either through the Petunia Fest or the general revenue alone by itself, when it came to Dixon, she was stealing money. She stole millions upon millions of dollars until finally she got caught. Now here's the kicker, right? So when you had the town and the employers that wanted to fix the roads and this and that, and she said there's no money in the budget. There's no money in the budget. Okay. What do you mean there's no money in the budget? Anyone with half the sense to know what this town normally brings in reference to the revenue, the profits generated off of the carnivals, the Petunia Fest, and people coming in out of town, yeah, things wasn't adding up. But yet, for the woman in the position that she was in, with her salary cap, and this is what I'm talking about when you put people in position of power, how they're for themselves, not for the people. Tires couldn't be replaced for some of these vehicles that were needed to perform their duties to repair the roads and stuff like that, or even the material that it took to repair the roads. She said, hey, why is it in the budget? There's not enough money in the budget. But yet she has all these horses that she would get prize money for because of how she bred them, and she would have events at her house. This is a white woman. This is a white woman. I mean, yeah, like I said, she finally got caught. But then here's the kicker. You know, because of the FBI investigation, which I didn't notice, but they had to be paid. The horses got sold. The money in her accounts was seized, and the FBI was paid for their services. Now, if you are an agency, how, and you already supposed to render service, why are you getting paid to do your job, to get a criminal who extorted money, but yet you piggybacking off of that extortion money? Some things just, and then you can't even really call it tax evasion because I'm sure she had to, pay taxes. So, I mean, and it was like a good chunk that the FBI, you gotta go look at the documentary. Again, it's called All the Queen's Horses. And it was a very interesting documentary, so to speak. But her name's Rita Cromwell. She was the town of Dixon treasurer or something. So, yeah. Whew, that's a hot one. After this, I'm gonna head back to the house and just cool off. And there's this pool at this park nearby the location of where I used to stay at. And it's a big, and it just went to waste. Now I think they said they made it to a skate park or something like that. I'm not quite certain. But on the bottom, they had vendors where you could get food and stuff like that. And the kids can go swimming in the pool. Now there's a lot of kids in the surrounding area, and there's not much for these kids to entertain these kids, which is sad because adults fuck it up, being selfish and shit. So I like when I hear like other people talk about or point the finger at, other groups and stuff like that, trying to like blindside you from other areas and stuff like that to also focus on. I'll be like, you miss me with that. But anyway, that's all I got for now. Until next time, until next video, please like, share, and subscribe. Peace.